Mountains. There's something about it that draws me in. Maybe it's the challenge, or the adventure, or the promise of a beautiful views at the end. I don't know, man. What I do know, Tongariro Crossing had everything that can entice someone who wants adventure. For us, we thought we were ready. We thought we can prepare for what's about to come. Little did we know, we were about to be taken to a roller coaster ride of emotions. But just like every story, this one must have a start. And it started when we arrived in our accommodation. Upon arriving, we said hello to the furry and feathery friends of our host. We then unpacked our stuff and started cooking. It was a simple but satisfying meal of tofu, broccoli, and rice. We also had a little snack as we wait for our food to get cooked, just some sweet watermelon, and before we know it, our meal was done.
I've longed for this place for so long. Now I lay me down
After eating dinner, we prepared our food for the hike. So we made some suman. It's a Filipino delicacy made of glutinous rice, salt, sugar, and coconut milk, and then wrapped in banana leaves. I knew this would provide a taste of home in the midst of a foreign landscape. And we also added some fresh fruits, chicken for me, and some peanuts to our stash. And then we hit the hay early, eager to be well rested for the big day ahead. Before daylight, we were already up and ready to go to our pickup point.
4 o'clock in the morning and off to a volcano.
Here, alongside other hikers, we waited for our shuttle to take us to the start of the trail, which was at the Manatipopo car park. After a bumpy ride, we finally arrived at kilometer 0 out of 19. We were really excited to start.
This is the teleportation room all the way to the summit. You go in there and then you end up in the summit.
The cool air made us feel refreshed and ready for the day. We haven't even begun, but the feeling was just amazing. We were amazed by the plants growing in the area. The contrast between the lush vegetation and the rocky terrain made the scenery even more impressive. It was really incredible to see. How can life thrive in such a challenging environment? I mean, after all, people had warned us that the weather here can change really quickly. You can have 4 seasons in one day. As we kept walking, we noticed that the terrain gradually shifted to resemble a more volcanic landscape. The path also started to get steeper, and we could see the clouds thickening in the sky above us. It kinda adds more unpredictability to our journey. After walking for about an hour and a half, we finally arrived at our first stop, which was at Soda Springs. This marked the end of the relatively easy part of the hike, and we took a moment here to catch our breath and rest our feet. We even had a little snack of bananas and made sure to rehydrate before continuing on to the more challenging parts of the trail. As we continued on with our hike, we made our way towards the next section, which is named Devil's Staircase. Yep, that's the name. A very dramatic name, isn't it? And the path leading up to it was already noticeably steep. Here we found ourselves panting and catching our breath as we move along, but we kept on going. We just had to be mindful of our pace, our body, and how hydrated we are. And just when we thought it couldn't get any tougher, we stumbled upon a sign that warned us that the section we were about to enter was anything but easy. It was finally beginning, the infamous Devil's Staircase section, a section of the hike that lived up to its name. The stairs seemed to never end, and our legs were burning from the workout. As we ascended, traffic started to form with slower hikers letting faster ones pass by. Then things get even worse as the weather suddenly changed. Thick clouds came in and it was hard to see more than a few meters ahead. But we didn't give up, we kept walking, one step at a time, and we finally got to the top of the staircase. We were really tired, but proud of it. Now, another hellish section is about to come. At the top of the staircase, we were greeted by a sign warning us that the most difficult and exposed part of the hike is just up ahead, waiting, and we thought the devil's staircase was hard already. We pushed towards the south crater. On a clear day, the views here would be damn impressive. As you can see the Mount Narhoe dominating the skyline with its perfect cone shape. But the clouds that day were so thick it obscured the views. Nonetheless, it was still otherworldly. The landscape was a mix of rocky outcrops, volcanic formations, and alpine vegetations. The colors were muted with shades of gray, brown, and occasional green. The jagged peaks, the thick mist, and the rugged terrain created this feeling that we were on a different world. Tolkien's Middle-earth, the Lord of the Rings to be exact. You can almost imagine the cry of the orcs, pounding of the anvil, the clattering of armors in the forge, as the dark forces of Sauron prepare for an all-out war against the living. Had the trail was not so damn exposed, I would have asked Angie for us to sit somewhere so that I can continue my reverie and just nerd out. But the howling wind was enough to get through our layers of clothes, and staying there would mean getting cold and risking trekking through much worse weather. For all we know, the temperature here can drop to freezing levels, where a storm might just brew, so we had to push forward. After another steep uphill climb, we arrive at the Red Crater. This is the highest point of the Tongariro Crossing, standing at an altitude of 1,886 meters or 6,188 feet above sea level. On a clear day, the views from the top of the Red Crater would have been breathtaking. The raw and tame beauty, which was shaped by extreme volcanic forces, would have taken anyone's breath away. But on that day, the weather was horrendous, so we pushed towards Emerald Lakes, which means descending down a slippery slope of loose scree. With each step must be taken with caution. This part of the trail is where most injuries happen, so every step demanded full attention to avoid slipping. But despite my best efforts, I still fall on my ass a couple of times. And we finally reached the highly anticipated Emerald Lakes. We had been hoping and praying for good weather all day, but it seemed that Mother Nature had other plans for us that day. The true beauty of the lakes were covered by this dense fog. To make things even worse, I ended up losing my drone due to my own carelessness, because I decided to fly it without realizing that the battery was almost dead. As I was attempting to fly it back towards me, thick clouds suddenly rolled in, obstructing my view, and I couldn't see it anywhere. And the controller was only showing a screen full of gray clouds. And then I started to panic, and within seconds, the drone began to auto-land. I had no idea where to start looking for it, and ultimately accepted the fact that it was gone. Angie, however, refused to give up on it. She encouraged me to keep searching even though we both knew it was like looking for a needle in a haystack. We also had to be careful because we don't know how stable the terrain was. The thick clouds also made it easy to get lost. And as heartbreaking as it was, I knew I couldn't put her in danger. So I decided to move on and just take it as a lesson. And as if to rub salt on the wound, the clouds started to clear out and the sun was finally showing itself. And I could not stop but to talk shit to myself for how stupid I am. I could have waited, and I would still had it, and I could have gotten better shots. But I just had to fly it in a foggy day and not check on the damn battery level. But we continued. We had to keep walking towards the rest of the trail, and I tried my best to control my negative emotions. And I tried to still make the rest of the experience memorable. And then I noticed Angie looking around, still hoping to find a drone. Her dedication and caring attitude really touched me deeply. I realized at that moment how lucky I was to have met her, and how grateful I was that I was with her. It was because of her unwavering effort and determination that an idea came to me. I remembered seeing some numbers on the bottom of my controller screen, and I thought that could have been coordinates. This idea came to my mind because I had previously used coordinates for my Instagram stories. So I took out my phone, and to my surprise, I had enough reception to access Google Maps. And I quickly entered the numbers and was shocked to discover that we were only a few meters away from my drone. Really, it was thanks to Angie's perseverance and maybe a stroke of luck that we were able to recover it. After successfully retrieving the drone, we were overjoyed and in disbelief that we were able to find it. The emotional roller coaster we experienced, man. From complete despair to absolute acceleration. It was an unforgettable experience. Furthermore, the weather had cleared up, revealing the vibrant colors of the Alpine environment that were all previously hidden. All of this happened within a span of an hour, so we were exhausted. And so we decided to take a break and rest at a beautiful spot where we ate the rest of our packed food.
After we finished eating, it was already past noon and we still had a long way to go. As we continued our hike, the environment gradually changed from barren landscape of rocks and scree to some patches of grass and wee shrubs. Despite the well-spoken gems of the trail being behind us, the surrounding environment remained stunningly beautiful. And as we got closer to kilometer 19, or the end of the trail, we entered this lush forest. It was cooler there and the trees shaded us from the sun. Occasionally, we had to take a break to rest as my knee was hurting from a previous injury sustained during jiu-jitsu. But I wasn't going to give up when I'm so close to the end. And after a couple more minutes of walking, we finally got to the end of the trail. Our bus shuttle was waiting for us, and we were really exhausted, but also proud. Really proud and grateful for everything that has happened in that hike. And then we boarded our bus and quietly waited to be dropped off. Yo, if you're still here, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for watching, and it really means a lot to me, trying to build up those hours. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe, give it a like. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, looking back at that hike, it was really unforgettable, man. Really otherworldly. There's no other definition for it. Like, it seems like you're lost in this fantasy world, or you're like in a different planet. It was really amazing, and I guess it's true what people say, that you get to learn a couple of lessons when you're on the outdoors. You get to know yourself more, and I kinda knew it, but thanks to the hike, it was like a big slap to my face, that realization that, hey, I'm such a little bitch. There's no easy way to say it. I thought I was tough. I think I'm a tough guy, but deep inside I'm such a little bitch. I get way too panicky. When shit hits the fan, I get way too panicky, and that's why when the drone started beeping because it was low battery, I panicked and I sent it to destination fuck. And yeah, had I been more calm, had I had not tunnel vision, because I find myself tunnel visioning when I get panicky. I choose one path and then I decide to commit all to it. But had I not lose my nerve, maybe I would have found another path. And I'm pretty sure this is not only in that circumstance. I think it will happen to me in other areas of my life, and I'm more aware of it now, and it's a work in progress. What can I say? But yeah, that mountain really is like it's a big pillar for the upcoming adventure. The hunger for adventure is burning than ever, and yeah, I'm looking forward to another challenges, another mountain, harder challenges even, if I dare, and much bigger ones. And yeah, again, I appreciate you for watching, and I'll be seeing you soon in the next one. Peace out.